Now that the Oscars are over and everyone is done arguing over who deserved to win and who deserved to lose, can we now focus on a film that should have received far more attention than it actually did? Hello, everyone. I'm author Arwell Raintree, and this is Reels and Reads, where I give honest reviews and occasional spoilers. All the Empty Rooms won the Oscar for Best Documentary Short in the 2026 Oscars award show. Now, everybody was talking about Sinners, everybody was talking about One Battle After Another and Timothy Chalamet, but all the while there was a film that truly deserved all of the attention, and that is All the Empty Rooms. Too often we think about what happens with school shootings when the moment is fresh, when our feelings are raw. We get angry at politicians, we get angry at the police, we get angry sometimes at the school officials who failed to protect the children. But what happens when the cameras go away? What happens when the school has been torn down or the person has been brought to justice if they lived to see another day and actually be brought to justice? What happens after that? No one seems to really think about that. And the thing that people don't think about the most is what happens to those empty rooms. What happens for those families, those parents who now have nothing but a shrine to their child who was supposed to outlive them. That's what this documentary short film is all about. Steve Hartman was a reporter with CBS News, and it was his job to put a happy spin on things whenever an event would happen. He would come in and give a heartfelt report and make everybody feel good at the end of the news broadcast. As we all know, news broadcasts can be quite dark. We all know the phrase, if it bleeds, it leads. But Steve Hartman's job was to come in and put a nice salve over everything so that once we turned off the news, we weren't in dire straits emotionally. But how do you put a positive spin on a school shooting? He was first assigned to his first school shooting in 1997. Since then, there have been 132 school shootings a year. Let's sit with that. Now, when this film begins, he had been working for several years, I believe, trying to document the empty bedrooms of 8 focused children that were victims of school shootings. So, out of all of the children, there were 8 that he was able to have their families agree to do this photography event with, this photojournalism event with. And so, he and his photographer, Lou Bop, sorry, I have to check my notes. Lou Bop, he appears in the film as well. And Lou was traveling with Steve as they documented what happened to these children's bedrooms after the tragedies. And this is where this is going to break your heart. This is where you're reminded just how much you've blocked out so that your life could go on while these families' lives are on pause. What they did is they would go to these families' homes who were all so happy to see Steve and Lou because it made them feel like somebody remembered, somebody still cared, that somebody didn't let go of the memory of their fallen children. And these parents were so happy to share and tell people, all of the positive things they remember about their children. For some, it was such a struggle just to speak. And then we see the rooms, and it's the sight of the rooms that have not been altered in years. And I do mean years. The shoes are still tipped over under the bed. There's still an unmade bed. Some people still have their child's makeup if they were teenagers on the dresser. They've maintained the voicemail messages, post-its that were happy daily affirmations for them going to high school, knowing that, they're going to feel awkward and out of place and how they were pumping themselves up, their plans for the future, planned college applications, school dances that they had just bought their dress to. Everything was exactly as it was the day they perished. And it's the way that Lou photographed these rooms that was just so beautiful. The way he didn't touch a single thing. He had a large lens. I don't know much about photography, so I'm just going to call it a telephoto lens. The way he got down on the ground to take a photograph under the bed so that you could see just how their lives stopped, just how their lives are interrupted. He took pictures of fingerprints and mirrors and post-its on their vision boards. I mean, this is the side of the children that we didn't see, because what we saw was, you know, headstones and plushies left at the site of the tragedy. This reminds us that their lives were interrupted when they shouldn't have been. And in contrast, or possibly in complement to these families who were eager to not let their children be forgotten, the photographer Lou shows us that he has been taking photographs of his children every day since the day they were born. I have no idea what he plans to do with it. He may have mentioned it, but I was too emotionally wrapped up in the film to, maintain that in my memory or to write it down in my notes. But realizing how this affected the families of the fallen children makes you want to take a photo of your children every day, your nieces, your nephews, your godchildren, hell, maybe even the students you have in your own class that you take care of. Taking a picture of your child every single day to show how their lives progress, to show their emotions day by day, that's an amazing photo project idea. And then I thought about the fact that those parents, if they had done the same thing, their photos would have stopped at 5 years old. Their photos would have stopped at 12 years old, and so on. Towards the end of the documentary, Steve compiles these photo books, and they're very nice photo books with linen covers, linen hardcovers, and he decides to present these photo books, photos that were taken by Lou, and he decides to give these to the families because the way he sees it, everyone is always taking from these families. The killers took their children away. The news wanted to take their stories. People wanted to take their pain and use it for campaign promises. People took their pain and used it to decide whether or not gun laws need to change. People took their pain and used it on social media for content. What was given back to these families? Absolutely nothing. And that's why Steve decided to give these photo books to these parents. And I thought that was one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Now, as I said before, this documentary is only 35 minutes long and it focuses on only 8 children. Normally, I tell you what it is I don't like about the film, but there was absolutely nothing I didn't like about this film. In fact, the only thing I didn't like is the fact that everybody's talking about Sinners and a lot of other films instead of this one. So I'm going to end this video of this 5-star review of this documentary by naming the 8 children: Jessica Alhadoff, Dominic Blackwell, Gracie Muehlberger, Carmen Schentrup, Hallie Scruggs, Jackie Casares, Charlotte Bacon, and Luke Hoger. Thank you for watching.